But the only thing I know about the Conjuring House is from when Em was watching this video at work, and on the other side of the building, this woman came up to my desk, and I just see this woman, and she like comes floating up, and I'm like ignoring it, because as a psychic medium, I just ignore things that I see, you know, unless they present to me as actually being physical. So she comes into my plane of view, and she's just like, and then like stops and stares at me, twists her head, and then goes, ah! And I'm like, what is happening?
Hi, I'm Em.
And I'm Liv, and we're your MetaPsycKicks. Today, we're gonna be talking about
the Conjuring House.
God, guys, I'm so nervous about this one. Emma's gonna have me talk to spoopy things.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, I love the Conjuring movies, so I know a lot about it, and I was the one that did the research for this, so Liv has no idea about the Conjuring House other than the stuff that I've already said on previous videos, like this one on our second channel. So she does not know the like background story of the house.
Yeah.
So since Liv has no prior knowledge of the Conjuring House, I'm going to have her write down what she already sees, and then I'm going to tell you the history and kind of talk to the spirits and how they relate to the stories. And if you guys are interested, we're going to post a full video of Liv's interpretation of the house before I go into the history on our Patreon. So if you want to hear the full story of this beautiful video, it will be there for you guys to view upon.
On Patreon?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because I can't put that whole thing into a YouTube video. That would probably be an hour.
Oh, of me?
Yeah. So I'm going to take snippets and then take that whole thing and put it directly onto Patreon. So if you guys are interested in our full spiel of our mediumship with the Conjuring House, make sure to join Patreon. It's in the link in the description below, and you can get all of the bonus content for this episode. So with that being said, let's get into the spooky history of the Conjuring House. So the Conjuring House got its name because of those famous films, but it was previously referred to as the Arnold Estates because they were the people that previously was residing in this house. They were in the house for 8 generations. And in January 1971, the Perron family moved into this house, with Carolyn and Roger being the mother and father of 5 daughters. And almost...
Oh, the man I was talking to talks to the daughters. That's why he's nice. He's really nice. The older man? Did they used to talk to an older man?
Who?
The daughters.
Oh my god.
I'm talking to the spirit that used to talk to the daughters.
Hold on. I wasn't gonna actually say anything about that because it doesn't relate to
Sorry, no, he's telling me that he talked to the daughters.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he's talking to me.
There is a story about when they first moved into the house that one of the daughters saw a man, like a full apparition of a man. Can't tell the difference between like him being a ghost or whatever. And she goes up to one of her parents and was like, who's the older man in the living room? Like, is he here to help us move in? And they were like, who are you talking about?
That's him.
That was really weird because I was not going to tell that story either.
Sorry, he's really nice.
That makes a lot of sense.
He's middle-aged. He's like 50s or 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry.
That makes a lot of
sense. That's why
sense.
he's talking to us, because we're girls.
Yeah, and it makes sense of why he was helping me with the research, because that was the first spirit I like saw with my research.
Sorry, you were talking about, I didn't know that there was daughters that lived there, and once you said daughters, he showed me all over their heads, and he's like, these are the girls I talked to, and I was like, oh, okay.
But Carolyn was the one that was most affected by the hauntings, and she actually, allegedly, that's what it says on the internet, did research and found that there were a lot of mysterious deaths on this property, surrounding children mostly.
Was there a farm boy?
That's what I see, the farm boy too.
He like was outside. What happened to his head?
Oh gosh. There were a few children that drowned in the creek in the back. There were a few that were hung, and then there were a few that mysteriously were either murdered or died in a very weird way.
Okay. Sorry,
but
there was one and like his head is off. Okay.
Because I see is he like
he's
brown
like
hair?
13, yeah. He's older.
I see him too, and his mother talks to me.
He was in the barn when he died. I see like a big barn, and like they didn't used to have hay bales. It was just like stacks of hay.
I like how you said barn because there was a spirit in the barn. Okay, there was the Arnold's family that owned the property before the Perron family. And the Arnolds, again, owned the property for 8 generations, and one of the Miss Arnolds actually hung herself in the barn, and that would be referred to as the person who is the Crooked Woman, because it was very frowned upon to do that sort of thing to you at that
She was
time.
just really depressed.
Yes.
Okay.
But there was a barn, because she did it in the barn.
Ah.
Yes.
Well, there's a boy there too, and I feel like his head got cut off or something.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I just see like red around his neck. I don't know if like a scythe fell down or there was an accident somehow, but
Yeah. But
yeah.
I see his mother.
Does she have blonde hair?
Yes.
Okay. But he has brown hair.
Yes.
Okay.
Her hair is significantly lighter than his.
Mm-hmm. But that's not the woman that hung herself.
No.
Okay,
They're
good.
different.
As long as we're talking to the same people.
Yeah. The woman who hung herself has like dark brown hair.
Yeah, and it's
Yes.
like curly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when the Perron family moved in, they had very minuscule hauntings. So they had like tapping, voices, scratching noises, nothing that they endured like further down the line.
Plot twist, it was just me.
Scratching on the floor.
In the corner. Like
in
the
your
lady.
wheelie chair.
Yes.
So like I said, Carolyn Perron was the one that was most affected by these hauntings.
And that's the mom?
Yes.
Okay.
She was personally like drained all the time. Her health plummeted from being in this house, probably because she was very sensitive. Her health deteriorated where she was exhausted all the time. She was getting bruises all over her body, scratches, being hit, being scratched, but she primarily was the one that was being attacked in this house. They called a ghost investigator to come to the house, and that is the very famous ghost investigators, the Warrens.
Do-do-do-do-do. Ghost inspector. Do-do-do-do-do. Sorry. What other questions do you have?
What do the spirits think of the Warrens?
Is one of the Warrens a big man?
Yes.
He's like exorbitantly tall.
Yeah. And then his wife was a medium.
The man that I'm talking to, the older man, he says that he liked them at first, but then they got too big for their britches.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was okay for the first, like, couple, he's like, even saying like a couple minutes, but once they got into the house, it turned.
They are the famous ghost investigators of the house.
Oh.
That's why the house became famous.
Oh, did they go to the, because he's telling me that they came there to help, but
Yes.
but they didn't.
And
they
then
ended up
did
making it worse.
Very stupid things.
Yeah, they made it much worse. He's
Yes.
talking about the ego of the man.
Yeah.
The man has too much ego. He comes in and he has intentions, but his ego is too large that it warps and distorts everything, but it reaches just as far as his intentions. He like literally shows me a man coming up, and I feel like he's wearing darker clothing, maybe like a white t-shirt underneath, and he like has like this like gold energy that comes off of him, but it's not necessarily spiritually like spiritual
It
energy.
shields him from everything.
Yeah, it's like he manifests it himself. It's like an extension of himself, but he like was like, oh, this is gonna be good because this guy's gonna try and like make things go
Heal
away.
things.
Yeah.
But it's literally just a shield for himself that
Yes.
he doesn't know he does.
Yes. So as far as that golden light reached, that's where all of the badness came in, because he replaced it with ego and made it bad. The lady in the attic wants to say about how the woman was listening to the dark things and not her.
Yes, I know. I'll tell you what she thinks that she heard in the house.
Okay, because the lady says that the woman is a medium, but she is a medium that listens to the dark things.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
They specifically specialize in demonology.
Oh.
So that's why she's comfortable talking to demons. But I don't know why she thought she was getting, like...
information from a human soul.
Yeah.
Oh, that made it worse.
Yeah, because she was telling the Perron family that the Bathsheba spirit was the one that was, like, causing havoc in the house. Which was completely false.
Oh. Yeah, she listens to the dark things but doesn't know it's the dark things. She thinks it's just souls, so...
So that's why it's really bad that she was in the house.
Yeah.
Because that thing was like, this is great.
Yeah, all they did was extend the reach that the dark thing had in the basement. Oh, okay. That's scary.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're saying all of this too.
Yeah,
before I even say it to you.
He had good intentions. It's just that whatever that gold is, it like is overtaken by his ego and reaches just as far with bad.
Yeah.
It's like you truly had good intentions, but it's like if you had good intentions of coming to a fire and you're like, oh, I have this giant gallon of water that I'm going to spray everywhere because it's a clear liquid, but then it actually is gasoline and makes the flames bigger.
Yeah.
But you can't see fire because you're blind.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, he truly thought that he was going to put water out on the flames, but he literally just came to the show with gasoline and didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you guys have no idea who these people are, they are very famous ghost investigators, which was Ed Warren, and then his wife, who was also a very strong medium, who was Lorraine Warren. So they came to the house to kind of help with the hauntings, but I don't think they were expecting to see the things that they saw in the house. So, like I said, Lorraine is one of the mediums in this house, and she immediately found a malicious spirit that was in the house that she referred to as Bathsheba. And Bathsheba is actually a real person. Her name is Bathsheba Sherman. She is married to Mr. Sherman. I don't know what his name is. But
Mr. Sherman.
They did not live on the property. They lived in a different house in a surrounding property in the Sherman farm.
Things get thrown across the room in the attic from right to left.
Yes. Yeah, what is that?
That's where the lady is, right?
Which lady?
The
crooked lady?
Yeah.
I don't know where she is. They see her apparition of the crooked neck in the basement. But that's not her.
Yeah.
She's in the house, but she's not that, like, malicious spirit that taunts people.
They're showing me the old woman on the top floor in the attic, and she's on the right-hand side of the room, and she yeets things.
That's not the same one.
Okay.
Why does she throw things?
Well, it's obvious for the first one. She said a couple of things. She said, well, to hit people.
Yeah?
She says people go in there to feel things.
Oh, so she gives them something to feel?
Mm-hmm. She says a lot of them aren't like us, so she gives them something to feel.
Oh, she's angry at them.
Yeah. But she's an older
woman. Because it
woman.
makes them leave.
Well, she's like the old... Well, no, she says, I don't care if you come or go. It doesn't matter. She's like, because people are going to come here anyways. And most of the people that go there are stupid. They're like, I want to go there to feel something. I want to feel scared. She's like,
experience.
People...
I give you something to feel.
Well, yeah, people like you and I will just walk up to the house and we feel something. But the people that go in that house don't feel things because they're not spiritually inept or adept. So... Sorry, she made me say inept. They are spiritually inept. We are spiritually adept. So we know well enough not to go there. But these people do, and they're like, hit me, brother! And she's like,
okay.
Batter, bitches. Who was the first family that moved there? Is there something about someone killing a child there?
Is that her?
She says it depends on the story that you hear.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking to.
Okay, but she's the one that's in the attic.
Is she Bathsheba?
I'm not sure. Because when you said that name, I saw a woman with long, dark brown hair.
Okay.
But
They're different, or are they the same?
She doesn't want to answer.
Yeah. She won't talk to me either because people bully her.
They might be the same person. I'm not sure. She's just showing me her old, but when you said that name, I saw someone that was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But then she switched back.
Okay, so it might be the same person. Because it would make sense that she's in the attic and she's just, like, angry at everyone. Yeah. Because they're really stupid.
Yeah, it's very much like you're stupid. If you want to feel something because you're stupid, let me hit you with something. Because you'll feel that.
Yeah. To me, it feels like it is Bathsheba. But she doesn't, like, want to talk to me. Because it doesn't matter what she says. People are still going to believe what they want to believe. But there are rumors that she is a witch that practiced Satanism and all of these really scary rituals that were worshiping Satan and the devil, and she was this really horrible witch. And one of the accusations around her story is that one of the neighboring infants had suspiciously died because a needle went into the back of their head. And she was accused of this but was never convicted of the crime. And I personally believe that because there's no proof that it will happen, that she did it. And every piece of research I found about this woman said allegedly, supposedly, believed. And it's because there's literally no proof that she did any of these things.
I'm sorry, the reason I laughed a second ago was because, you know, like in old times, women wouldn't give each other their recipes to foods because their food was really good. So, like, they would go over to each other's houses and one wife would say to the other wife, like, oh, my husband really liked your casserole. Can you give me the recipe? And the other wife would be like, oh, sure. But then something would be wrong so that the casserole would never taste as good as her casserole.
Okay.
That's just what they made me think about when you were like, they didn't like her. They thought she was a witch. She was like, it's just because the proof was in the pudding and the pudding was too good for them. Sorry. Like her meat pie was delicious and they just didn't like her. They're like, she's a witch because she's beautiful and she can cook things that are good.
Yeah, and a lot of people also believe that she hung herself on the Arnold's estate, but that is also not true because she died from paralysis when she had a stroke.
Do they see her from the front trees? Do people think that they see her from somewhere hanging on
Bathsheba?
the property? Yeah. Have there been people that
think
say
that? Yes.
Okay, well, what they're seeing, I'm just saying, because she's showing me, people see me in the yard of the house, but that's not me.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think in the Conjuring movies, one of the first things that the actress Lorraine saw was someone hanging from a tree out in front of the Conjuring House.
Yeah, that's not her.
Yeah.
Sorry. You were just talking about, you said the property, and as soon as you said the property, I saw like different things that people have seen of her hanging there, but it's not her.
Exactly.
And it's been in different parts of the property. It's not just the front trees. It's like other places. And she's like, that's not me. That's the scary thing. Got it.
Yeah, they literally created a documentary specifically about her because the Perron family does not believe that she is the spirit that did this and that she is falsely accused so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's because Lorraine Warren came into this house and was like, Bathsheba is a malicious spirit, and she was not talking to Bathsheba.
She was talking to the dark thing that makes it look like her.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah!
That's weird.
Uh-huh. So when the Warrens came into this house, they did a lot of, like, investigating to try to prove that there were ghosts there and whatnot and tried to, like, get rid of the ghost. And one of the things that they did was a séance, which I'm not sure why they thought that this was going to work.
Is this why you were asking me when you wanted to know when the dark thing was there? I think the dark thing was there before they did the séance. It just
No, it was.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. It's definitely telling me that it was there before the séance.
Yes.
Okay. As long as that wasn't one of your questions or why you were asking me.
Because I feel like it was there the whole time, like, of people living there. But I don't know when exactly it started being there.
I think it started being mean in 1829. Because I'm really weird with numbers.
Yeah, no, it was there before the séance, but the séance made it so much worse.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why she thought that this was going to be a good idea. So they wanted to perform a séance to communicate with the spirits that were there, to kind of, like, be like, maybe you should go away.
Maybe. Just maybe.
But like I said, Carolyn is the most affected by this entity in the house. So when they started performing the séance...
Oh, did they do an exorcism?
I don't think so. I think they wanted to, but they got kicked out. Like, the father kicked them out. So during the séance, Carolyn, who was most affected by the haunting, she started speaking in tongues. And
I like how people just say in tongues, and it makes me think like 8,000 tongues. I just think it's a funny thing to say.
They specifically describe it as a language that they have never heard, like an unearthly language.
What?
And her chair started levitating off of the ground, and she basically started being, like, put into this little ball. like her bones started, and she was being like conformed into a ball, and then she got thrown across the room, and her head hit the ground, and her daughters all thought that was the point at which she died. At that point...
But she was okay, right?
Yes, she was okay. At that point, the father kicked the Warrens out of the house, and they only returned after to make sure that Carolyn was okay. And I don't think people understand, like, why it's so bad. They are creating their own energy, and they're taking the energy of these, like, civilian people who are already terrified of the spirits that are in their house that are screwing with them, and they are amplifying that energy. So the dark thing in the basement was like, well, since you're offering this energy, let me show you something really cool.
Yeah. And then use not the weakest person, but the most sensitive person to everything to manipulate it.
Yeah. This spirit really liked Carolyn because I feel like Carolyn was sensitive to it, like had psychic abilities that were quite significant, but she didn't realize she had those. And this thing was like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna like manipulate the crap out of this. So this was one of the Warrens' cases that were deemed incomplete because obviously they were not allowed back into the house after that. Once they left, the hauntings kind of mellowed out a little bit, which would make sense because I feel like they definitely poked the bear more than once. But the Perron family eventually was able to move out of the house about 9 years after they had moved in. But the house still remains to this day very haunted, and because of how famous it is, it brings a lot of people there just to egg on the dark things.
Does somebody own it?
Yes, someone owns it.
And they do haunted tours or something?
Mm-hmm. They allow haunted tours. They also allow investigators to go and spend the night there because they make money off it. As a lot of people know, there is a portal that sits in the basement of the house.
A lot of people know this?
I would think so.
Let us know if you know that there's a portal in the basement that creates mischief, mayhem, and all of the horrible dark things in between.
Also, after the Perron family moved out, a new family moved in, and they had a daycare, and they kept the kids in the basement.
God, why?
Because they didn't believe that it was haunted, so they had kids in the basement, and then...
And they're like, Mommy, do you know what rotting flesh smells like?
Yeah. And then the kids started saying really weird things, and all of the kids got taken out of daycare immediately. But there are really weird, like, child toys and things down there that have, like, images of the Crooked Woman being drawn on them. Mm-hmm. But there is a portal that is in the basement.
Another reason why I hate basements.
And the portal is, like, this way. It is parallel with the ground. And Liv and I like to describe those portals as hell portals because that is kind of... It's like facing the dimension where the heavy, dark things come. Because if you don't know, they crawl out of the portal.
Yeah, well, we've talked about in other episodes and other podcasts that energy is, because again, we're mediums, we're only interpreting energy. So energy has different frequencies, and it goes into like chakras and a lot of other metaphysical things, but like the lower vibrational things are at the bottom of the spectrum. So that is why hell is associated with dark things, because energetically they are heavier. Even on a wavelength spectrum, they are heavier.
And that's why hell is also perceived as, like, down in the earth, because it is heavier, so it'd be referred to as being lower.
Yeah, so lower vibrational things exist a little lower vibrational frequency, whereas higher vibrational things, such as heaven, spirit, and all of the good white light things, the higher frequency light, is up here. So, portals that are...
So the orientation of the portal being horizontal allows for dark things to exit the portal and come into our realm. So in the basement, there is a very dark entity.
I just see like a dark ball in the middle, and then around it, it goes into things. But I think that's where it gets the energy, but this is it right here. It's telling me that its shtick is to draw things to it, which would make sense why it's like a vacuum. Mm-hmm. But because it's gotten so powerful over the years, it's able to manifest things. So, like, that's why people see the crooked woman. It's not really the crooked woman. It's just a manifestation of what they think is scary to scare them more, to get the energy. I think it creates those things. I think the little thing under the stairs is something that was around and then it ended up coming here or coming to the house because it was drawn to the dark thing. Because it is a dark thing.
This entity is, like, very heavy and dense. I also see it like a ball.
Like a bowling ball or like a cast iron ball.
And it's so heavy that it literally bends the fragment of time and space. So it's like a planet. You know how they, like, represent the gravity of a planet, of how you have the planet and then the fabric of time kind of, like, goes in like a funnel around the planet. That's kind of how I see this dark entity. So you saying that it's like sitting here and things are being attracted to it, it's because it has a literal gravity to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it pulls things closest to it because it literally bends the fabric of time and space. So things fall into its mouth almost. But the spirits that were in there were telling me that there's a portal that it gets its energy from.
Mm. Oh, that's what it sits on top of.
Yes.
Okay, it was telling me that it is the portal, but it's not. It sits on top of it. Like,
that's why I was a little bit confused, because I was like, no, I 100% heard a spirit tell me that it's on a portal.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's confusing me.
Yes.
That's why you don't talk to doc things, kids.
But this thing sits on top of a portal, and that's where it gets a influx of energy over and over and over again. It doesn't necessarily allow things to get through, but there are things that are small enough to get out of the portal. What the spirits in the house described to me about what it does is, because it has this gravity, it has a, like, area within its own energy where it is able to manifest things. So if you guys have seen our dream video, we talk about how you can go into your own soul's energy and you're able to manifest a dream world for yourself. So you manifest a little avatar, you manifest the world for your avatar to walk through, and that is how you dream. You just go into your soul's energy. But this thing is so powerful that it is able to create a dream world or a nightmare world within our realm. And that is why it is able to, like, do things that it should not be able to do, like create little manifestations or apparitions of entities, or be able to throw people around rooms, because it has so much energy, and if you're in its, like, gravity, it is able to manipulate the things within its energy. But that is also why it does not want to move from the house, because it's getting all the energy from this portal. And because the house is so famous, it brings people to it. But I specifically was talking to the woman in white, which is the woman which is one of the women that people see in the house, which is a woman that is just dressed all in white and she has, like, brown hair. And then I was also talking to...
She's the actual crooked lady.
No. She's someone else.
Well, yeah, she's not the crooked lady, but she's the actual soul from her, right?
I don't think so. I see different soul.
Okay.
I see that woman, the white woman in white, and she has a different energy. And then I see the woman, the crooked woman, but she's in a different colored dress. Yeah, I feel like the woman in white is, like, the balance to the dark thing here. And she is she's not a human spirit, she's a light spirit. And
yeah.
That's why she's not telling me things about herself. And that's also why she's the one that...
Do you see her and her feet aren't touching the floor?
Mm-hmm.
She tells me that when her feet touches the floor, that's when things stop. That's why she grounds everything, but she floats until she needs to be grounded.
She is one of the beings that will welcome you at the door. Especially if you have a medium with you, because the mediums are more susceptible to it. So she is the one that is like, hey, we're gonna make sure you're not gonna, like, be scared. But I think she is a spiritual being that is there to help balance the dark thing that's there. But they see her, like, floating around rooms
Okay, yeah, because I see she says that her feet don't touch the ground because when it does, it's like everything stops.
That's interesting. But I was talking to the woman who people refer to as the Crooked Woman, so she's Mrs. Arnold's. And she was telling me that I am not the woman that walks around with her head bent this way. People think it's me because I'm the one that, like, did that to myself on this property. But, like, I'm not out there to scare people. I'm not angry about it. I'm just here to help people so that bad things don't happen to them. And it's because this dark thing knows that people know about her, and they know that this was, like, such a difficult thing that people do not.
They can't empathize. So instead of empathizing or trying to sympathize with it or understand where this person came from, they're just scared because they don't understand.
It's very frowned upon because of religious means that you should not be doing things like this to yourself.
Yeah.
So that type of energy allowed this dark thing to be like, hey, if you're scared of this, let me manifest
it.
This in like my nightmare world so that you can actually see it. And showing children is very easy for it because the children inherently can see it, and then they show it to their parents, and they're like, oh God, why are you seeing this?
The house is the nightmare world.
Yes.
Got it.
And that's why it's also on the grounds as well, because this thing is massive.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the weird things that happen in the house, and then doing this video, she's showing me all of the like little dark things that are around. This thing like mind controls them almost. Mm-hmm. It's like it hums. I'm clairaudient, so I hear it more than I see it. It hums, and this like flips a switch on the spirits that are a little bit dark and makes them like use their angry negative energy in a bad manner.
Same with the guy that growls.
Yeah.
I think he's an angry, mean person in the first place, but...
Well, that's why he's affected.
Yeah. More so than the other ones. Like, the man that we're talking to is not affected.
Yeah, I don't think the, like, other human spirits are affected because they're not angry. So, if you guys are interested in more stories like this, we have a series on our channel where we talk about famous haunted locations, which I will link a playlist here, so make sure to check out those other stories. And if you guys have any suggestions of other famous locations that you would like us to go over, make sure to comment them below. However, in our next video, I don't know what we're doing.
We're talking about deities.
We're going to be talking about deities and our experiences with them. So if you guys are interested in that content, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you guys in the next one. But make sure you check out our podcast because we're going to be talking more detail about the Conjuring House. Yes,
and our Patreon, guys. I know everyone has Patreon, or most people have Patreon. They're like, we're going to give you all these cool things. We also give you all those cool things, but what's super skookum is you have access to our Discord server no matter what tier you decide to join. And our Discord server is like a group friend chat of all of your best friends that want to talk about metaphysical, paranormal, and spoopy things. So if you're interested in becoming a part of the MetaPsycKicks Patreon Discord group, go check it out. There'll be a link in the description.
Also, if you want our full spiel on the Conjuring House of Liv trying to figure out what this house is all about, it will be in one of our Patreon tiers. I believe the Cloud Plane will get all the bonus content for this episode as well. So if you guys want more Conjuring stuff, check out our Patreon and you will get bonus content each month.
Also, we have to talk about how we do readings because we never talk about this, and I'm really bad at it. If you haven't gotten it, Em and I are psychic mediums. I do psychic medium readings. I can talk to souls of pets and people, psychic medium reading. I also do pet psychic readings where I talk to living animals, and I also do plant psychic readings where we talk to living plants. It's really fun. And Em does tarot readings. If you want both of us, we do a psychic medium versus tarot reading where we talk to everything, spirit guides and souls around you, with a tarot reading and a psychic medium reading. It's super fun. So if you're interested, go to our website. It's fun.
So if you guys are interested, make sure to come back next week with some more videos from us. See you guys in the next one.
We are your MetaPsycKicks.
This thing is so dangerous. The like dark thing in the basement is so dangerous that if there weren't spirits here, it would cause some like havoc on the people that go there.
They're there to balance it out.
Yeah. So they're there to be like, it's okay. We're gonna make sure that this thing doesn't screw with you while you're here, and it will all be okay. Because I haven't had like that experience with other houses or other famous locations that we've had. I've never had this very strong like hand holding through the entire process.